I'm going to share two and a half stories. I'm going to talk about kind of some things that happened to me, some things that happened to other people, and then some things that happened in my family life. I'm not going to go super in depth on all of them and take 30 minutes to talk about it, but I think it's important to talk about the things that happen to you directly, things that happen to you indirectly, and also to some things that happen that have nothing to do with being in the military, because we're all human beings, right? That's the human effect. But when I do these talks about post-traumatic growth here at my base, I talk about the things that I've experienced directly, and none of them are as hard. And here's the thing too, while I say that, this is never a comparison, right? We're not trying to say what I experienced is harder than what you've experienced. That's never the point of this. Everybody's scale of trauma is unique to themselves, and it's very subjective. And it's important not to diminish that, right? Some people's trauma is visible. Some people's trauma is not visible. And that's another important part to remember. But for me, this is my personal take, is trauma that happens to me directly is easier to understand, comprehend, and process than trauma that's indirect. And what I mean by that, so, I did a couple of tours to Afghanistan, Iraq, had a couple of close calls. One was a piece of frag hit my pistol from a car bomb that we were working. So, that was pretty close, because, that's closer from femoral artery. You could bleed out and die, right? So that was a little bit, that did the intrusive thoughts, recurring memories, the flashbacks like we talk about, that are pointless and serve no meaning. Among other operations, other instances, some post-blast operations, where you see human remains of fellow American soldiers and citizens, and it's just something that sticks with you for the rest of your life and can really make you mad for a long time. I think that's something that, as the EOD community doesn't really talk about a whole lot, is the effects of post-blast analysis, and that's probably harder than a lot of other things we have to do. But indirectly, the more important thing, the worst trauma I ever experienced in my life, really, for the most part, because it was so unexpected and so out of nowhere, was the loss of Team Lima. When we lost Dan Miller, Tim Weiner, and Liz Lonke on January 7th of 2007. There's no trauma in my life that's ever compared to that. And I'll follow that up with, some other personal trauma that's separated from the military, but still, I can say to this day, like, that's been the worst, because it was unexpected. It was out of nowhere, and you just didn't see it coming. And knowing these people and working with these people and loving these people, and they're their friends, family, etc., even deeper than that, and then all of a sudden they're gone in an instant, right? Like, that absolutely affected me the most out of anything I've ever experienced in my life. And that didn't happen to me directly. I didn't get hurt from it. I didn't experience anything from it. And so the important thing to remember is, like, it doesn't always have to happen to you directly. It can happen indirectly in a way. And then the follow-up to non-military related trauma was the loss of my father earlier this year in January. And why I say losing Team Lima may have been harder is because, my dad was not old, right? He was in his early 50s, right? But he had throat cancer for 4 years. So it was something that we never expected to happen, but at the same time, we're, knowing it could be a possibility. But how does this all tie into post-traumatic growth, right? So losing Team Lima, for me, what I took from that was experiencing that dramatic loss, and realizing the importance of relationships, improving those deeper relationships, and like the spiritual, like, why am I here? I'm here to make memories of people that matter, right? So, what did I do after that? Like, I went down to Eglin as an instructor at EOD school in Florida for 4 years. And I got a base of preference out of there. So, of course, I went straight up to McGuire, near home, near Philly. And I, through a lot of, working from some people that helped me out, for sure. It wasn't just an easy, bam, it's done. So I definitely appreciate all those people that made that happen, because for the next 4 years, well, 3.5 years, I did a back-based deployment here and there. But for my time up there, I spent as much time as humanly possible with my dad, because he wasn't sick yet, right, when I got up there, 2014. But it didn't matter. That wasn't the point. The point was I needed to spend time with people that mattered to me. So as soon as I got up there, that was priority number one. Spend as much time with my dad, my mom, any of my best friends I still communicated with, right? That was one of the big like PTG response areas that I like tried to actualize and live without realizing it, because I didn't read the book until years later. I don't think it was published till 2016. But I'm so thankful for that opportunity. Thanks to an unavoidable trauma in my life. Like there's nothing I can do. I can't go back and make Tim, Dan, and Liz be alive again. I can't do anything about that, right? But I can learn from that pain and appreciate what I have now and really capitalize on it and remember the people that I know and love and do what I can to value the time spent with them. That's the point, right? That's the point of post-traumatic growth. Is life is struggle, life is trauma, life is challenge, all of that. You can't avoid it. It will never go away completely. I don't like Dan. No, I came out to see you a couple of times. So I came out to see you in San Antonio, went to a Clutch concert. Came out to see you in Chicago, we went to another Clutch concert. Had so many good times, man. And it's because when you got hurt, man, like that was tough. Like we thought we were gonna lose you so bad for so many days, and we didn't. So I didn't want to waste that. Like that's really what PTG comes back to.
Yeah, Brad, I got to jump in right away, man. You absolutely nailed it. Hit it so hard. It hit me right in the heart. But it's I think the traumatic part that we experience is the loss of that relationship, that meaningful relationship or relationships. In my case, being a true veteran and leaving the EOD career field and all the people I love most. So where the growth comes for me is my life now, where I live now. I never actually expected to come back to Chicago. I planned on just start or continue my life somewhere else, just work, raising kids. And but it's been wonderful for that reason that you mentioned of reigniting relationships with my mom, my brother, my sisters, some of my friends I hadn't seen in 10, 15 years. But when you said that, it hit me because, oh my God, that's what I've been doing. And that's why I feel wonderful right now, is because of that. And then again, you just remind me of all the fun times that we had when you came down. Those were those stepping stones to that growth of understanding. That was it. It was those meaningful relationships. I mean, what is life about? I mean, we're here and we will be gone someday, but what do we do in that meantime? And it goes back to that one saying that people never remember what you say or do, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. And that's what it is, man. So thanks for hitting that. That was good.
Yeah, man. That's it, man. Like memories, man. Like that's what you remember. That's what you take away from this whole experience called life. To me, is memories. And I can remember playing Xbox with my homies, like maybe a little bit, tiny bit of it. But what I'm always going to remember for 20, 30 years is that Clutch show that we went to in San Antonio or Chicago. I'm always going to remember that. Like the time we drank way too much freaking Shiner Box and had a good time. Like I'm going to remember those experiences well past. I'm going to remember taking the easy way out and avoiding any kind of challenge or struggle, like in a simpler term, something I've come across like here in like the last couple of like the last year since this whole COVID BS has been going on, right? I'm lucky to live in Europe, and it's awesome to live in Europe. I can travel about, I could travel about and see all kinds of awesome countries and stuff. And then, all these restrictions come in and we can't move about so much, and it makes you really appreciate what you had before, so that when that comes back, I'm going to take advantage of it even more, right? I'm going to start planning all these trips. I'm going to make sure I get out to these places. But it also, in turn, makes me appreciate what I have locally, which is amazing world-class scenery. Like it's just ridiculous, the kind of like environment and nature that I have within an hour drive of my house. So like, it's how you look at it. It's a perspective, it's like, oh man, I can't go anywhere. I can't go more than 2 hours from my house. Well, what do I have within an hour of my house then? Like, what can I do? I can do something. That's the important part of a lot of this is, when you find the path to post-traumatic growth, you realize like there's a lot more in my control than I realize. And part of it's perspective, right? And part of it's, say, what do I have available to me, and how can I make that, something of value?